Board of Education of February 12th, 2025 to order at 7 p.m. Please join us for the pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, I'd like to entertain a motion to adopt the agenda as presented.
So moved.
Mr. Foote?
Second.
Mr. Showers? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Item number 3, approval of the minutes. I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the following minutes. The minutes of the Special Board of Education meeting, the retreat of the Plymouth Board of Education of January 15th, 2025.
So moved.
Second.
Greg, Kelly,
No.
any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Mr. Foote abstains. Motion carries. The minutes of the Special Board of Education meeting of the Plymouth Board of Education of January 15th, 2025.
So moved.
Mr.
Second.
Showers,
Second.
Mr. Perugino. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Mr. Foote again. And the minutes of the Special Board of Education meeting, the budget workshop, number 1, for the 2025-2026 budget of January 23rd, 2025.
So moved.
Mr. Showers?
Second.
Mr. Foote? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Mr. Zabushka abstains. And finally, the minutes of the Special Board of the minutes of the Special Board Subcommittee meeting of the Plymouth Board of Education expulsion hearing of January 30th, 2025.
The only two people that are the people that were involved in that meeting.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
So Mr. Perugino and Cindy. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
So the only people who can vote on that are Pat and Cindy. You both voted yes, so I'm assuming you're not opposing or abstaining. Okay. Motion carries for that one. And then we are moving on to item number 4, student representatives, Fallon and Ava.
Good evening. The Leo Club went on the Midwestern Conference for the first time in several years on Saturday at the Wyndham Conference Center in Southbury. Of the people who attended, one of which being me, found the experience to be very informative and gave us ideas on how we can further serve our community in Terryville and in surrounding towns. At times, we found that the presenters were more talking at us rather than to us. So we didn't as much enjoy that section of the day, but we are excited to make this an annual event for the Leos Club and looking forward to using our van again.
Next item on our list is the variety show, and Fallon will be passing out flyers for you guys. The senior class is hosting a variety show on March 7th at 6 p.m. in the auditorium. If there is one event you go to this year, it should be the variety show. On the 7th, teachers, staff, and students will all be showcasing their talents in unique skills. This event is less about making a profit and more about giving back to our community. Proceeds will go to the THS Angel Fund, a program that gives to students in need. Please bring your family and friends to see what talent our high school has to offer. Our staff and students alike would like to thank you all, but especially Mr. Tenza, I'm sorry, I don't know how to say your name. Tenza, for the cafeteria furniture that is all now correct and functional height.
The winter sports seasons are coming to an end. All sports teams honored their seniors at our winter pep rally this Friday. Also on Friday, the indoor track team competed in their final meet of the season, the Berkshire League Championships. This is the first time that indoor track has had a Berkshire League Championship, and our students enjoyed it heavily. The wrestling team will also have their league tournament on the 15th at Derby High School, and our cheer and basketball teams are also wrapping up their seasons. The student council has brought to the attention Mr. Holtz the lack of use of our library. Alongside in the library, there are like puzzles, books, all the usual things, as well as virtual reality headsets, yet no one knows what resources are available. So to bring awareness to what the library has to offer, we're going to display photos or highlights of the library on our TVs, as well as encourage teachers to take their classes to the library for lessons.
Excellent. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And as always, you are welcome to stay, and if you need to leave, you are welcome to leave as well.
Thank you
so much.
Have a good night.
Go to the
You too.
variety show.
Have a good night, ladies.
The kids with the
Thank you.
variety show have come to see me, and Mr. Tenza was nice enough to offer some cookies and milk for the students on that evening. So he has the flyer now, so I won't forget. They also came to the Rotary meeting, and the Rotary made a nice, generous donation to them this morning, I believe of $150 in total. And I believe they went to the Lions Club meeting as well. And they also did a nice job presenting there. And it's all for a good cause with the Angel Fund, which gives right back to our kids, so.
Okay. All right, before we start item number 5, I'd like to remind everyone of the rules of public comment. You can come to the podium and please sign the paper that's there. After you sign, you're going to say your name and address, and then your time will start at that point. It will not start while you're standing there. It won't start till you start talking. You have 3 minutes. Our Ms. Tilton will be timing you and give you a little reminder when your time is up. When your time is up, just wrap up your last thought. And please remember, this is public comment, not public question and answer, so we will not be answering any questions at this time. But please give us your thoughts and your comments. If there is something that needs to be answered, Mr. Falcone or a member of our administrative team will get back to you at some point so that you will have an answer to your question. Did I cover everything?
After public here, we would then go to online.
Okay, yes, we'll do our in-house public comment, and then we will go into our online comments as well for that, so we will be able to hear everyone. So with that being said, whoever would like to go first, please come on up to the podium, sign up, and then state your name and address.
Good evening. My name is Lena Warner, and I live at 95 Allen Street. I'm currently a junior at Waterbury Arts Magnet School, and I would like to take this opportunity to discuss the proposed changes regarding the removal of busing from magnet schools and the significant negative impact this will have on multiple students and their families. I've had the opportunity to attend magnet schools throughout my entire academic career, and I firmly believe the experiences I've had at both WAMS and Rotella have shaped me into the person I am today. This school has not only allowed me to discover and grow my passion for theater and dance, but has also provided countless opportunities for growth both as a performer and as an individual. WAMS has continuously encouraged me to step out of my comfort zone, helping me explore experiences and challenges I would have never experienced at any other school. As a junior, I'm particularly concerned by the consequences of the busing removal. By the time this change takes effect, I will be entering my senior year, and rather than spending this important year surrounded by my friends and the classes that have been essential to my education, I will be forced to attend a new school with new people and a completely different set of academic offerings. The sense of connection I've built over the past several years will be lost. WAMS provides a unique educational experience that not only includes AP courses, but also the opportunity to take UConn classes for college credit. These credits can provide opportunities such as allowing me to potentially skip college courses, as most freshmen have to take, giving me an academic advantage in my educational journey. While the superintendent states that the impact on each grade level would be minimal, with an approximate average of 5 students returning per grade level, This completely overlooks the emotional impact on the students. While some students may have the ability to drive or be driven to school, there are many of us who rely on the bus for transportation. Removing busing will create excessive hardship, particularly to those who don't have alternative means to reach school. This suggestion that students will be redirected to Terryville schools is also very concerning. I've spoken to several students who have either attended or currently attend Terryville schools, and they all share the similar opinion that the academic opportunities are significantly limited. This lack of academic difficulty is one of the many reasons parents choose to send their children to magnet schools seeking better opportunities for their children's future. As a student with a learning disability, I was very well accommodated by and told by professionals that a magnet school is the best learning environment, and it has been. So maybe there are issues to be addressed, and maybe instead we should be focusing on addressing the real issues at hand rather than making drastic cuts to something that benefits so many people. In conclusion, I urge all those involved to reconsider this decision. It's easy to view these challenges from a financial perspective and assume that there's a perfectly good school right here in town. But I ask you to look at this from our perspective as students. We are real individuals with unique academic goals and personal circumstances. This decision affects more than just the bottom line. It impacts our education, our well-being, and our future. The removal of these buses makes us feel like we're not valued the same as the students going to school here in town. So please take this moment to reflect on how these changes will affect us, as we are not only students, but we're people. Thank you for your time and consideration, and I hope this message helps you understand the gravity and decision of the consequences it will have on so many people. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Hi, my name is Jessica Corrigan, and I live at 6 Helen Road. I'm currently a junior at Waterbury Arts Magnet School. Throughout my academic career, I have attended magnet school and have greatly benefited from out-of-town busing services provided by the Plymouth Board of Education. Recently, I have learned due to budget cuts that there are plans to discontinue busing to magnet schools while maintaining busing to technical and BOE schools. I would like to share my perspective on how this decision would significantly impact students like me. I understand that technical and BOE schools are likely to receive continued busing because Plymouth Public Schools does not offer the same programs. However, I have taken the time to compare the programs of study of Plymouth Public Schools and Waterbury Public Schools, and I found that Terryville High School, for example, does not offer the same range of courses and opportunities. Out of the 8 courses I am currently taking, there are only 2 of those courses offered at Terryville High. This leaves me without access to 6 of my courses, including a number of advanced classes offered through partnerships with UConn and Post University. At WAMS, we have AP classes that you could take in all 4 years of high school, and not all of those classes are offered at Terryville. As a student passionate about the arts, particularly technical theater and stage management, this lack of specialized offerings is very saddening. While WAMS provides an array of arts courses including theater, Terryville does not even have any theater classes. Additionally, at WAMS, we don't have any study halls, and our free time is dedicated to electives that further our education in the arts. This is a critical component to my academic experience, as it allows me to pursue my passion while receiving a well-rounded education. I take my education very seriously, and I'm concerned without the same opportunities available at WAMS, I will not receive a high-quality education that sets me up for success. The rigorous courses and arts programs offered through Waterbury Magnet Schools provide a level of education I believe would be hard to replicate at a school within the Plymouth Public School system. While I understand that budget constraints are a challenge, I strongly believe that the decision to cut busing to magnet schools would negatively affect many students and families in Plymouth. As students, we should have access to the best opportunities for our education and our personal growth, whether in town or out of town. I strongly urge the board to consider alternative solutions that would allow Plymouth students to continue attending magnet schools and benefiting from the unique programs they offer. Thank you for your time and consideration. I hope you will take into account how important this issue is to students who rely on busing to access a quality education. Thank you.
Anyone else? Come right up. Go right up. Yeah, yeah, please do.
Good evening, everybody. I don't think we have to convince you the difficulties driving the kids to magnet school if you cut the service, or driving them even to the 4 designated stop at the town. Although there was indication when these cuts were announced at the beginning of the school year that this step will follow. I'm surprised it took you so long. And still, I'm happy that you didn't take an example of California that cut the bus services at all. There is no bus service in California, unless you are a specialized student. I don't think we have to convince you how difficult it is, and especially if both parents are busy in the morning, and witnessing a skinny girl at the church waiting at -2 Fahrenheit in the morning because the parents have to rush to work and they cannot stay with her. But I didn't understand exactly what's the problem. Why you cannot dedicate this money for the most important or one of the most important things that is required? And why you have difficulties for that? Maybe you should hire an accountant that can figure it out, how to manage the finances. I really didn't get it, why you cannot answer questions. Shouldn't this be a debate so we can figure it out? Okay, that was my point. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Diane Corrigan, 6 Helen Road. I didn't prepare a speech, so they eloquently, the students talked about how it impacts them emotionally and academically. When I first found out about the potential cuts, I emailed Mr. Falcone, who gave me a boatload of data, which I love to dig into. And so it's a question but statement. I found that within that data that there may have been some misbillings by the transportation company, and that we have some buses which a very minimum amount of students, so we're paying for a large bus for maybe 5 or so students. And then there was one where I asked about one of our technical schools where the budget seemed to have being built for 2 buses. But now that we have centralized bus stops, I can see that there's only one. So I didn't know if anything could be resolved with the transportation costs overall, and that maybe some of that money could be allotted for the shortcomings after the grants for the magnet schools. So magnet schools, each student, there's a grant for each student. I think it's $1,300 per student that offsets some of the bus costs, but I do understand that it doesn't cover all the bus costs. Whereas the technical schools don't have that offset. So somewhat a comment, somewhat of a question, but something to consider, that if we can find the money in other transportation costs, then our students can still attend these schools that give them other opportunities that they're going to get in town. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Lisa Briati. I live at 95 Allen Street. My daughter Lena was the first speaker. Both my children went to Rotella, and then my older daughter did her middle school in Terryville. Hated it. Begged me to get her out of there. So she's now at Rams. Lena was legally blind. We didn't figure that out until second grade, I believe. She went through all the testing for ADHD and all the testing. And they finally figured out that she couldn't see. She's nonverbal. She has a nonverbal 504 or 501 or whatever that is. And her therapist, because she went to a therapist because she had all these problems because she was blind and we didn't know it, said that the magnet school was the best place for her because she can't sit there and read. They act it out. I mean, they put on plays with numbers and they make games out of it. It's a different learning environment. She now takes honor classes. She does a lot of volunteering back at Rotella. She does a volunteering at other schools with her theater, and she does dance. What else? Swim, because she swims. But the magnet school opportunity was awesome for her. She also did a internship over the summertime. 6 weeks she took out of her summer vacation. Every day she went to Waterbury Hospital. And she actually became a leader in that program. Terryville, you guys just don't offer it. You know, you gotta step it up. You know, I don't know who this is reflecting. I don't know if it's the quality of the teachers you get but I've not heard anything good about the Plymouth schools. That's why my kids went out of town. And they flourished. They absolutely flourished. The bus stops that you've put us at since they were in pre-K are horrible. I don't know if you know where the bus stop is now, but you have 3 buses at the bottom of a hill picking kids up. It is so dangerous. One time when you change the buses around, we were at the Waterbury Road, old Waterbury Road in South Eagle. We almost got hit by a car because there's all of a sudden a bus stop there. Nobody knew it was there. You put us at the ballpark. I had to flag a cop down. There's like 5, 6 cars there. Nothing's plowed. Kids are running around. Let me finish my statement. The cop actually found out for me that was private property that you put the bus stop at. So you clearly don't like the magnet schools, but you know what? They're there for a reason. So either you guys step up your game and maybe you can get your kids back. But to take it away from these kids, I think is sad. It says more about you people than it does about anything else. Thank you.
Hi, Becca Allen, 17 Megan Boulevard. I want to thank you guys for all of the hard work. I know this was not a pleasant budget season. I know it has been affecting a lot of people. And I know that you don't take joy in having to make budget cuts. As for some of the comments that we've heard, I understand that this is very upsetting to those kids that go to magnet schools and their families. It's putting a hardship on them. But you know, we also have heard a lot of negative statements about our school system and how, well, we want to go to a magnet school because schools here in Terryville suck. Okay, well, so if we already have a very limited budget, should we take more away from our Terryville students? Should we cut teachers? Should we cut programs so we can keep busing kids to these better schools? And I think that's something that we have to look at as well, because I, for one, my kid does go here in Terryville. And if buses was cut for Terryville in its entirety, I would have to figure something out. And that would suck for us, but it would be something I would have to do as a parent. So again, I think the priority, unfortunately, is going to have to be the teachers and the programs in our schools have to be the number one priority for our budget season. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I'm so nervous. I'm not good at public speaking, but this is something so important to me.
Just state your name and your address, please.
Shannon Mendoza, 118 Ridge Road.
Thank you.
My daughter has grown up here. We moved here when she was literally 3 days old. She attends Waterbury Arts Magnet School now. We've always actually had a wonderful experience with the teachers here, but she was relentlessly bullied through middle school. She would come home, she'd be in her room. It was awful to see my daughter become this person. Since she started at Waterbury Arts Magnet School, she comes home happy every day to tell me about her day, to tell me about her teachers and her experience there. I'm a single parent. I don't have anyone else to help drive her to the bus stop even here. This place has been such a change for our lives, my entire family, to see her happy again, the experience she's having there. And I would never say anything bad, honestly, about the teachers in this town. They've all molded her into a wonderful person. But the students aren't exactly open-minded, and the offerings aren't the same. She's a musician and an artist, and I support that. And I think she's good enough to make a career out of that. To have to tell her that she can no longer attend this school would have devastating effects on all of us. So I'm just asking you to please consider everything we're saying here. And I appreciate your time and I appreciate being heard. Thank you.
My name is Kevin Therian, live at 13 Bernice Avenue. My daughter Vera attends Whams in Waterbury. When this came up, the first question that popped into my head was, is this really about cutting a fraction of the budget, or is this about discouraging and making people feel bad about practicing their school choice and seeking education where they have the right to? I don't know the answer to that. You guys are on the board. You guys have these discussions. You guys know the answer to this. I don't. So I want you guys to really think about this and make the proper decision based on facts and not feelings. Is this really about the budget, or is this about discouraging people from seeking education elsewhere? Thank you.
My name is Nicole Corey. I live at 75 East Plymouth Road. One of my daughters loves theater. She loves it. You could find her in plays in Thomaston and Bristol and the Warner and
here, she does them here. She would do a play anywhere they would offer her. She's been in adult plays and kids plays, and she would love to go to Williams. She would love it. And without having busing, unfortunately, it's just not an option for her. And that sucks, but it's the reality. Because I have other kids that go here in Terryville, and being here is also important. And if I want her to go there, I have to drive her. It's just one of those things. And it's not saying that Williams is not fantastic. It is, and for the kids and for you guys that do it, I'm sure it's amazing for you. I'm sure that you have so many wonderful opportunities there that you don't get here. But I would have to bring her there. As her parent, that is my job, to do the things that I think is best for her. And I make it work. That's what we do as parents. We make it work. And we can't rely on other people to do that. And it's not whether that Williams is better and that Terryville sucks. It's not, because my kids don't have any problems here, and it's not that. It's just, it offers something different than you can get here. But the teachers here are wonderful. And if I want her to go somewhere else, then that has to be my responsibility. I can't blame other people. I can't expect to take away from kids that do go here so that it would make my life easier, because I decide for my kids what I think is best to send them somewhere else. It's a choice. And sometimes you have to pay for the choices that you make. And sometimes it's not an easy choice. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else for public comment? You can have your second public comment is later on in the agenda. You've already had your 3 minutes.
Melanie Church, 328 Main Street. I chose to put my kids in private school, but I was capable of getting them there. This was something offered. And if I would have pulled my kids out of the schools that they were in, the trauma that they would be under, and to come in and change their whole routine is cold and hard. We had in this town, up on Burr Road, where the water went bad. People on Burr Road didn't pay for it, the whole town paid. And that's what you need to do with this. Find a way. Maybe take the buses, instead of going to all these individual houses, and put them at the end of the streets. So there's less stops, more money to get these kids with what they're used to. We all live in this world. We all live in this town. And the problem is we're not a village. Because people want to divide it. Well, you got to do this or you got to do that. That isn't what it's about. And this town is falling apart. And I urge anybody here to turn around and do this as a village and stand behind these kids. They've gone there for how many years? You got kids that are juniors and seniors. They don't count? They count just like your kids did. And if these kids need it, and I encourage every parent in here, go to your doctor, get a thing, post-stress trauma, and bring that in, and then the school will have to pay for these students to ride the bus.
Anyone else for public comment that has not commented yet? Okay, seeing no further public comment, we will move on to our next item. Superintendent's update. Oh.
Nope.
Oh, sorry, I'm sorry, I apologize.
It's okay, I would have stopped
The
you
online
there
ones,
then.
I apologize, I forgot about that.
It's okay.
You ready for me?
There is none.
Oh, there is none? Oh,
No, no,
okay,
no.
I'm sorry.
I would have stopped you if there was.
I apologize again. All right, there are no online comments from our online audience. So now we will go on to superintendent's update.
I'd like to start by congratulating a few of our Terryville High School students. I'd first like to congratulate Bailey King and August Fortunato. These are this year's Terryville High School recipients of the Art Award for the Connecticut Association of Schools. I'd also like to congratulate Megan Hudson and Maya Coviello. Those are the recipients of the CIAC Scholar Athlete Awards. And these 4 students will be honored at a banquet at the AquaTurf in the spring. At the end of the first semester, our high school held a career symposium for our students in our Career Center classes. As part of their learning experience, those students created resumes and cover letters. They practiced writing professional emails. They completed mock interviews, and they participated in job shadowing opportunities and experiences. During the symposium, the students showcased their work by looking at the major takeaways for the course, the reflections on their overall experiences, and they provided information on their post-secondary plans. And again, the great part about this course is that we're preparing kids for life after high school. And as our goal has always been, and as I've shared, our goal is that when our high school principal shakes the hands of a child at graduation, we know their plan and they know their plan. I'd like to congratulate the 11 Terryville High School students who will be inducted into the National Honor Society this February. In my opinion, being recognized by your teachers and being inducted into this elite group is one of the most prestigious honors, and I'd like to congratulate those 11 Terryville High School students. In shifting gears to Eli Terry, at the end of January, the PTA put on the first ever winter snowball dance. I went to that PTA meeting. It was interesting. Over half the student population went to that dance, which is evidence of the culture and climate that's been created in our schools when you have kids that want to be there and be with each other in our schools. In addition, on February 27th, Eli Terry faculty and staff will be playing the 8th grade in a basketball game, and it's their annual student staff basketball game. And Mr. Vigliotti asked me to share with the board that it should be noted that the Eli faculty has never lost to the 8th grade in all the years. They're still undefeated. Over the past month at Fisher Elementary School, there's been a focus on ways students can give back to the community. Their student council held 2 events to support 2 great organizations. First, they held a color war competition in which they collected donations to support the Terryville Lions Fuel Fund. And then the second thing they did is they voted on their favorite pet, either a dog or cat, for their Paws for a Cause fundraiser, which collected donations for the Animal Rescue Foundation. And again, this ties right back to the board goals. At Plymouth Center School, Ms. Loveland is working with the PTA to kick off their reading incentive program. The PTA is planning to bring the author of the book series Click, Clack, Moo to Plymouth Center School. They're currently selling the books from that series for the author to sign, and they're planning to complete various activities and projects for the kids in the classrooms. At the end of the reading incentive, the author from Click, Clack, Moo, Doreen Corin, will come to PCS for an assembly. During that assembly, she's going to bring her good friend Sprinkles. Sprinkles is a famous pig, apparently, and it was in a movie with Steve Martin, Selena Gomez, and Martin Short. And the best part of this incentive program at the end is that Miss Loveland is going to kiss this pig if the reading incentive goal is met. So that should be a very entertaining assembly for our students. And before I review the budget adjustments that we've made based on your requests from the budget workshop, I wanted to remind everyone that school will be closed for winter break from Monday, February 17th through Friday, February 21st. And now I'm going to relocate just to cover some of the changes you guys made in the budget. All right, so this goes back to our cuts. So as you all know, when I proposed our original budget, it came in at 3.25%, and we cut 11 positions in total. We cut the certified staff for the math intervention at Plymouth Center, an elementary teacher at grade 1 at Plymouth Center. We also cut an elementary teacher in grade 5 at Fisher, and we cut the teacher of the deaf. So you could see, I broke it up a little differently here because I believe we were misrepresented in the newspaper with regard to salaries. So I wanted people to see the actual salaries and the benefits that align to those positions. And then when you go to the other non-certified faculty, you see that you have a custodial and maintenance position. That's a full-time position. You have the benefits associated with that. You have a tech support position at 1.0. And then you have some 0.5 positions, whether it be the math tutor, the in-school suspension monitor, the ELL tutor, the energy specialist that we have, or a part-time custodian. And I know that we mentioned this at the workshop. There's always a perception that schools cut positions that aren't filled. All 11 of these positions are filled, and I've spoken to 11 faculty members that would be losing their positions. On the other side, the proposed budget cuts that are not staffing, we looked at some administrative workdays and we cut some administrative workdays out of their schedule. We looked at magnet school transportation. We looked at insurance. It's capped at 10.5% increase. We actually budgeted at 9%. That is a significant risk in our budget. We have some one-time purchases through technology. So all of those pieces have not changed. We've also shifted as much possible with regard to our teachers' salaries that would align to grants, and we slid them over to save in our operating budget and to save positions and money. And then you see that we have an approximate retirement savings of about $60,000. So everything in red has been changed. I added those positions back with their benefits based on the recommendations of the what did I say?
Red.
Red. Sorry. I am colorblind, just for the record. Everything in yellow is added back based on what the board asked for. So you see the shift and adjustment in the numbers based on what we added back into the budget off of your ask. Additionally, these are some other things that we have to work with. Matt and I have been looking at the excess cost. We budgeted it at 60% for next year. That is a reduction from what we had in the past for our reimbursement. So the state is reducing the amount we get, which also impacts our budget. And we are adding 2 things to the proposed budget. These have stayed in the budget: the evening security at Terryville High School and the contracted services for the teacher of the deaf. As you saw in the previous slide, we cut the full-time position. Putting contracted service in place will save us about $50,000 in our operating budget. The top is my proposed original budget at 3.25. What's in yellow is what changed between the 2 budgets. The budget eliminations were at $966,000 when I proposed this to the board. The board made some changes, added those 3 positions back into the budget, and it is now, the budget eliminations are at $678,000. So our budget increase moved from a 3.25% increase to a 4.33% increase. And so that's where we stand right now. This is interesting because I pulled this today from the CAPS data that we have. The average superintendent recommended budget increase is, as of today, 5.53%. That's the proposed recommended budget from superintendents. And the average board adopted budget is 5.16. That's as of today. Looking at our next steps for the budget, today we're here. We're hoping to adopt the budget that is presented to you. And so if the board does adopt that budget, Matt and my goal is to try to turn this around and get it to the Board of Finance by this Friday. That's subject to change depending on what we can get to them. After that, we have a tentative date of March 6th where we'll be presenting to the Board of Finance. And then April 21st is where we'll have our tri-board meeting and the town council will set our budget. So this is where we stand right now with the adjustments that you asked me to make within the budget. That's all I really have.
Okay.
I have a question. Is there any way you can ask public comment if there was somebody that needed, access granted to send in their public comment?
We have public comment again at the end. It's coming up in a few items.
But it was regarding transportation for the next
We can't go back. No, can't go back.
just that.
Yeah, thank you. All right, so we've had the superintendent's update. We have had our new business with the adoption of the Plymouth Board of Education budget is up next. I'd like to entertain a motion to adopt the Plymouth Board of Education budget for 2025-2026 as presented to the board with an increase of $1,158,987 or 4.33% over last year's 2024-2025 budget. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Mr. Perugino, and second, Mr. Foote? Second, Mr. Foote. Now is where we can discuss. So any discussion on this budget?
Can I go first?
Go right ahead.
All right. So I pretty much have not slept for the last month. When I got on this board, I thought I would be able to make a difference in my community. I've been teaching for 25 years. My whole adult life has been devoted to children. I, like other parents who showed up tonight, was angry about something, and I showed up at a meeting and I said, I'm going to get on and make a difference. In the 3 years I've been on this board, every year we sit at this meeting and it's death by 1,000 paper cuts. There's never a time where we're saying, what can we do to improve our children? It's cut this, cut this, cut this. Had a lot of discussion about whether I should just walk away. Because when I go into my classroom every day, I make a difference. I make a difference. And I went through a big feeling of that, like, anger of, like, what's wrong with this town? It's falling apart. Buildings are falling apart. Our water treatment plant is falling apart. These people are incompetent. But then you look into some reality. We are number 12 on the economically distressed communities list. Not sure how they decide that, but based on the words economically and distressed, I'm assuming that means it's because we don't have the money. And then I'm like, well, we pay a lot of our money toward the school budget. I mean, that's fair. Education's important to me, so I'm okay with that. But then I also was looking, well, I pay a lot of state taxes. And how much does our state contribute? They put out hundreds upon hundreds of unfunded mandates to us. As a teacher, some of them I can definitely say we do not need and they do not benefit our classrooms. So, looking at the little research I did, I'm not an expert, so please don't quote me if my numbers aren't perfect, but since 2017, the state of Connecticut has cut over $400 million a year from our education. The education budget, the entire budget, 35.5% goes to K through 12 education. I would like my tax dollars to go so we all have the choice of where our schools to go. I don't want to sit here listening to my friends and neighbors attacking each other's choices and what's best for their kids. They're our kids. We should decide what is best for them. And the money that we pay should go towards whatever choice we make that works for our kids. We shouldn't be sitting here fighting with each other over who deserves to get hurt more. Because that's what we do year after year. Sorry, I'm very emotional. Of all the roles I play, being a mother is the most important. My kids are here. I've had good experiences, bad experiences, because that's what life is. Sometimes you like a teacher, sometimes you don't. It's a learning experience for your kid to get through adversity. My kids don't have these special talents, so they're not dancers or anything, so they don't need to go elsewhere, and I'm happy here. I know that other kids need something different. I'm a teacher. I am well aware of how important it is for every child to get what they need. But I don't know what to do because our town doesn't have money. We just don't. And I don't know if I should just walk away and fight this battle somewhere else, or do I stay here and try to get my friends and neighbors to come together so we can fight together for our kids? Shouldn't we stop fighting with each other and fight together? I don't know how. I don't know who makes the decisions of cutting grant funding for our buses for magnet schools. At one point it was paid for. Who made the decision to stop paying for it? Our kids shouldn't have to suffer because bureaucrats in Hartford decide they don't deserve that money. I don't have the answers, but I know that this year after year of, we're trying to save 3 positions, but we're still telling 7 people, sorry, we can't pay you anymore. It's not right, and I don't know how to fix it. Maybe I'm not smart enough. If anybody can understand the educational cost sharing grant, they put out a beautiful infographic. My 3 college degrees did not help me understand how the math worked on that. How you take an economically distressed community and cut another 8% of the spending? How? How is that a decision? I don't know who makes these choices. I don't know what options we have as parents, as board members, as taxpayers to fight it, but this is not gonna work. Even if the best case scenario happens, we put everything back in the budget. The town brings it to a referendum, we vote to raise our taxes. Next year, our cost goes up, our money from the state goes down, and we're back to fighting with each other again. I didn't get on this board to hurt kids, and I feel like that's what I have done the last couple of years. Yes, we've done some great things, putting in some new curriculum, adding some programs, but this, knowing, and I know a lot of people in this town, I grew up here, this is my hometown. I know people who are being affected by this, and they are great educators, and they make a difference in our kids' lives. So what do? I don't know. I'll do whatever I have to do. If I have to email the governor and the state board of ed, I'll do that, but I'm only one voice. I can't fight by myself, and I can't fight for our kids if we're all fighting with each other. So, I don't know what else to say, but we gotta do something different because doing this year after year after year is not working. It's not because we sit here hating people. I hate having to make this choice. 3 years in a row, cut, 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 cut. There's not much left to cut. And that's all I have to say about that.
What else would anybody like to add?
Well, originally, if we wanted to do it, was 8%? Was that what that budget would have been
The
to
original
maintain
budget,
everything?
8.2% increase.
8.2%. The only thing that, you know, and I agree with Kelly, but the problem is I've been on this board for 15, 18 years. We go in front of the Board of Finance and the town council, there's nobody there to support us. Nobody in town. We go there, we make our presentation, we look in the audience, the same 3 or 4 people. Nobody's there supporting us. I don't know why. I have no idea. They don't want to pay the taxes? I don't know. But for years and years, I just sat there and just looked in the audience, 3 or 4 people shake their head. I don't know. Kelly's right. You know, all we do is cut. We get cut. No matter what we do, they have, I forget, 3%? What is it? 3%, correct? No matter what we do, the town says 3%. Now, you gotta change the charter, I guess, but that's what it is, 3%. So we can go in with 8%, we can go in with 2% or whatever, it's 3% what they're gonna do. There's 5 people controlling it, and that's your town council. They control it. The Board of Finance presents it to the town council, and it's up to them. So if you got a problem, you gotta speak to the town council. You know, we do, and 3%, and that's what we get. I don't know what else to tell you. It's been that way for years.
Yeah, the simple fact of the matter is that even us going in with this 4.33%, they're going to cut us.
I'm gonna cut you.
And we are going to have to cut our budget further from what we have it at now. So we can add in whatever we want to add in,
Right.
and we're going to have to cut it. The Board of Finance is the next step. The town council is the step after that. And unfortunately, we don't have the final say of how much money we get from the budget. If we did, this would be a very different scenario. They have the final say. And we know historically, going in at 4.33, they're going to cut that. There's not a chance in the world we're getting 4.33. Which means that we now have to go back and look and see what we're going to cut that we've possibly put back in. So we could sit here and tell all of you, we'll put it back in, it's gonna get cut again. The town council and the Board of Finance are not going to give us 4.33% because then they have to go to referendum and it will be voted down by the townspeople. I would love to hear from everybody else, what you think, what you would like to do with this budget.
I say go ahead and put the money back in, but I mean, let's be realistic, like you said. We're not only gonna have to cut that, we're gonna have to cut more things that aren't even on that list.
Well, we got cut $92,000 from the state of Connecticut for this year. It was $104,000 last year. They keep cutting us. Where are we gonna get the money?
I don't know, that's what I'm saying.
We don't have money. We can't grow it on a tree. We can't print our own.
What I would like to say, if it's okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're at the point where in my first presentation, I showed you the money we control. We don't control the money in this budget. When we make a cut, it is people. The most important resource to our kids in the Plymouth Public Schools, the kids that go here, I am not talking about trying to dissuade kids from going to wherever they want. I think it's your choice. I think it's your right. I bless you for it, and I have no problem with it. I want people to find what they want in education in their schools. But it can't be at the expense of the kids in the Plymouth Public Schools. I was hired as a superintendent to advocate for the kids that go to our schools. And I'm going to say, if we decided to put $112,000 back into the budget, I think we should look at the list of teachers and people that are working with our kids in our school system, and that's where it should go. But the reality is, 4.33 is very high. We all know that. We're all making the assumption that that budget's not going to pass and we're going to cut more. So everything the board put back in will most likely be removed, and we're going to be cutting more. So to put $112,000 in, and the choice is the students still, and the parents still. And I understand the hardship. I don't question the hardship. I might have those same hardships in my life. But the reality is, $112,000 is 2 teachers. It's at least a teacher and a half to 2 teachers, because they would be our newer teachers that we're losing in salary. And I cannot make that recommendation to this board of keeping transportation in place so students could leave our district and still have all their teachers and all their programs, while the kids that go to our public schools lose their programs and their teachers. I have a hard time with that. When the option is still open for parents to send their kids to those schools. And that's how I feel about it, and that's why this was recommended in my budget. It was to save 2 additional teachers, so we weren't cutting 13 positions, we're only cutting 11. And so the board has to make a challenging decision. And it's not a decision that is easy to make, as you saw in Kelly's emotion. But we've been cutting and cutting and cutting. And so is the town, to be fair, on their side. They've been cutting hard decisions need to be made by that town council, because everyone's coming to them for money that our town does not have. And you're right, it is the state, it is the federal government. Look where the money's going. And WAMS does have programs that we don't have. And we have programs that WAMS doesn't have. And we could go back and forth. This isn't a matter of us or you. This is a matter of financially, our district can't afford to do this anymore. Just as Thomaston can't afford to do this anymore. And that has been an elimination in their budget, the transportation to magnet schools. It's because we have to protect the kids in our own district at this point because they keep losing teachers. They keep losing programs. We need to maintain as much as we can for our kids that are in our district. We need to protect those children in those programs. And so that's why my recommendation is very strong with this board to adopt this budget, knowing that we're going to most likely have to cut more into it. But to add more to appease people that are here this evening, knowing that it's just to make everyone happy this evening, but we're going to have to cut it later on, does not make sense to me. And if we're going to add 112,000, I want to go back to my list of the people that have been working in this district for 20 years that I've cut. And I think we should look at those positions prior to putting in transportation for students that can provide it in a different way and still get all their programs.
Anyone else?
I'll make my comment.
Okay.
Another thing that's in this budget that doesn't necessarily get said today is the contracts that we negotiate each year. Our staff are very, very underpaid compared to a lot of other districts that are 10 minutes away. We have tried to negotiate contracts that give them a fair enough raise to keep them in district. And that is another huge part of this budget, is trying to pay our staff a fair wage for the job that they do. So it wouldn't be fair for us to tell the staff that they can't get a raise this year to try and save something else either. And the teachers that we do have in this district have been here, a lot of them, for a very long time. And a lot of them can very easily leave somewhere else and get paid $10,000, $20,000 more a year, easily. And for those of you that don't know, like here, Kelly has children in the school. I have a 26-year-old that graduated Terryville High, a 21-year-old that graduated Terryville High, a 21-year-old that went to Oliver Wolcott. I have a 17-year-old right now at Wamogo, and I have an 8th grader hoping to get into, we still haven't heard back for the 8th graders this year of what schools they're going to, but I know a lot of 8th grade parents in district that are hoping for their students to go out of district. Some are hoping to stay in district. I'm very well aware of what other school opportunities have. I have children that have gone to other schools, and you know, it's a great opportunity to be able to go to even a private school, St. Paul, Holy Cross, Taft, any school that your children can go to. They're wonderful opportunities. So
Yeah, that's what I would like to comment on that as well. I think if people did their research, they would know that over the last 20 years that I've been on this board, several board members have made choices to send their students to different schools and their children to different schools. So we fully encourage school choice. That is not something that we would ever discourage. I myself have made school choice, and my children have also gone to school here in town. So this is not something that we are making to limit anyone's choice. That is for certain not what we're doing, because many of us have made choices. Yeah. Michelle, would you like to add something?
Yes, both of my boys went to Maloney and Wams, and they took the bus for transportation, and they were often late for breakfast and homeroom, which I would have to get calls during my school day about this issue. So they still wanted to go to Wams, so I took the opportunity myself, get up early in the morning, drive them to school, and I myself was 45 minutes early from my school because I'm a teacher in Waterbury. So I do understand like where the parents are coming from, but sometimes with the buses, they're late for breakfast, they're late for homeroom, and then it throws off their whole schedule of the day. So I personally just brought them in. They're in college Thank you.
Thanks, Michelle. Any other final comments before we put it to a vote? Good?
All I want is, and I understand what's going on with this bus situation. And some of the comments, I wasn't too happy with. However, school choice, my children never went to school in Plymouth. They went to St. Anthony's, St. Paul's. I took them down, I drove them down. They went to Maloney, Manual Lutheran, and Holy Cross. And the only reason I did that was because I sat on this board. And sitting on this board, if it came up for a soccer uniform and my kid was playing soccer, and I said, let's buy the soccer uniform, the town would be on my case. That's the reason that my kids didn't go to the school. They went down to Maloney, and I enjoyed it. They enjoyed it. So, and I'll tell you, when we went to Emmanuel, it was carpooling. There was 3 families, we carpooled. Holy Cross, at that time, Tom Wallenberg had the small bus, and he would pick up the kids at the IGA store, take them to Holy Cross. We paid, and he would bring them back and drop them off at Dunkin' Donuts. He did that for, well, my kid only went for 2 years because he got his driver's license. So, like I said, like the woman said, we did it for our kids. The kids wanted to go there. I drove them. My wife drove them. We carpooled. We worked it out. I was fortunate. My son was the first one in this town to go to Maloney Magnet. The first kid in this town went to Maloney Magnet. And the day he went to Maloney Magnet, I got elected to the board. And that was it. Thank you.
All set? Everyone else all set? Okay. We have a motion, we have it seconded, we have had our discussion. We are going to do a roll call vote for the budget to be sent as presented. Mr. Showers,
Yes.
Ms. Tilton,
Yes.
Mr. Foote,
Yes.
Mrs. Kendrea Florenciani,
Yes.
Mr. Perugino,
Yes.
Mr. Zabushka,
Yes.
Mrs. Lucian,
Yes.
and that is everyone who is here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 yeses, 0 nos. The motion passes. Thank you very much. Our next item of business is an out-of-state field trip to Hershey, Pennsylvania. And this is a motion item. Do we have a presentation on that at all?
We don't. I have the information
Okay.
here. The dates of the proposed trip are May 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. The band and chorus are going to Hershey, Pennsylvania to perform. The price of the trip is $765 per child before fundraising, but in speaking with Mr. Keene, he believes fundraising will take a minimum of $200 off per child if they decide to fundraise. And I believe the itinerary was provided to all of you.
Yes.
So you can see kind of where things are.
All right, do we have a motion to entertain, I need a motion to approve an out-of-state field trip to Hershey, Pennsylvania for Terryville High School band and chorus students in grades 9 through 12 on May 2nd through the 4th, 2025.
So moved.
Michelle, seconded
Second.
Mr. Foote.
Okay.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. We are on to item number 8, the business manager's report and the personnel report.
Thanks, Karen. So, as I said in my report that I gave to you, when you look at the reports for budget 24-25, the year in, please don't panic as you see a small amount of money at the end of the report, and that is because my staff and I have been working extremely hard to forecast and encumber as many of our expenses as possible so that perhaps in the March, the March meeting, I may be able to give you an idea of where I think we're actually going to end. We still have some money that's supposed to come in from the state. I want to see what that's going to be before we get there. In particular, I'm talking about the excess cost reimbursement from the state for special education. So I know that you guys like to look at the numbers at the end, so don't panic. It's a little number. We'll be okay. I think I was going to touch on the budget development for 25-26, but you just have adopted it moving forward. So my work and Brian's work will be to get it ready to send to town council. We'll try to get that to that, or to the Board of Finance, excuse me. Try to get it to them by Friday, providing weather and associated formatting.
Right.
Food service continues to move along. We have purchased really all of the equipment that the state required us to in order to drop down the excess fund balance. If you remember, we're only allowed to carry a certain amount, and the food service budget is completely separate from the regular operating budget. No town funding goes into the food service. It really is self-supporting. You heard the students, and I appreciate the shout out that the tables have finally arrived, and they are now in use like full time. You can tell as soon as you walk into the cafeteria, they're all full as opposed to when they were the other tables. And we did place an order for one additional table. The high school administration asked if we could get one more for kind of overflow, so that will be coming.
Okay.
I want to thank, again, she's in the audience, again, thank Meredith Patel for getting us through this interim period where Jessica was out on leave. She has returned, and we're working her back into the system. So Meredith, thank you again. And last but not least is building walkthroughs continue. This week, Friday, will be with Fisher Elementary. We will not do one next week because it is the vacation week. But I do send out the emails to the facilities group to let them know that when I'm going to do them, and they're more than welcome to join me. So unless we have questions, I turn it back to you.
Any questions for Mr. Tenza? No?
Not this week.
Okay.
Not this month. I already talked to you, we were doing the walkthrough.
All right.
Well, how long is that one new table gonna take? Are we gonna get it this year after we waited so long?
It should get here before the end of the year, but, you know, they usually tell me it's, 60 to 90 days. So if you do get it, but what we have done is brought one of our old, one of the old tables in so that we do have the overflow space for them. And actually, that gives me one more question, and I don't believe it's a vote. I think you just have to say yes or no. But we do have our old cafeteria equipment, which is just, we've kind of been moving it around the building for storage because we don't have as much room for storage here. I have a couple of districts that are interested in purchasing it from us. It is the same age as this building, so that's what, 2000?
20 years old.
So it's 20 years old. Really, I just need permission from the board to go ahead and liquidate it.
Yeah, I don't see why not. There would be no reason to not want to do that. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. All right, so the accounts by facility report will be forwarded to the Town of Plymouth Board of Finance. And Mr. Falcone, do you have anything to add about the personnel report that we got in our packets?
No, the only thing I would like to show you is that we have an evening security person here at the high school, Mr. Matuzik, and he has former experience in the juvenile detention center and working in Cheshire. So having him here in our schools is a great addition for the evenings. So.
Great. All right, now that brings us to item number 9, which is public comment again. Same rules apply, so please join us at the podium for your second round of public comment, or your first if you haven't spoken already.
Do I have to re-sign?
No.
Okay. Diane Corrigan, 6 Helen Road. Okay, so I understand money, so that's pretty much what I do for a living. So in some data that I received, because you had sent it to me, there are 3, the ROAG school, the Oliver Wolcott Technical School, and the Keener School, which we are still keeping in the budget for transportation. In the data that was sent to me, and if it changed, you can just let me know, that Kaner and Wamogo share transportation with Thomaston. However, we are paying, or we have charged the full budget for those 2 buses. In addition, Oliver Woodward budgeted for 2 buses, but now that we have centralized buses, I know that there's only one, so so as far as the budget is concerned, outside of the decision for magnet schools, it seems like that maybe we're budgeting a little bit too much in those areas based on what the bus company has told us that we need to spend. In addition, okay, bus company is a private company, sort of a monopoly, it's the only one we have. But they tell us, they're not gonna come to us, for example, with 5 kids on the Maloney bus saying, hey, there's only 5 kids on the bus, you don't need to spend $65,000 for them. They're gonna say, oh, you need a bus? It's $65,000. So is that gonna be offset for our total budget? Like, you need $262,000 for 3 schools that, I mean, we're still keeping the BOAG and the technical schools in the budget for transportation, cutting magnet schools, value for value, whatever that may be, personal choice. If we're not going to bus for out of town, why are we gonna still have an additional $262,000 in the budget to bus for schools that are not getting offset? Magnet schools get offset with a grant of $1,300 per child. So that 112,000 is the net cost, not the gross cost, where the technical schools, we don't have an offset for. Okay. Thank you for listening.
Thank you.
Emil Danilov, since this is one-way communication, I want to make a suggestion. If you're getting cuts, and I understand the tough position you are, cut the payment down the line. I know All-Star Transportation. They make huge profit. They're buying whatever transportation company they can find to establish monopoly. I'm sure they'll settle for less. That's my point.
Thank you.
Lisa Briati, 95 Allen Street. I just want to say, like Diane said, if you're going to cut the magnet schools, cut all the out-of-town schools. Why? I just don't understand, like, why we're being targeted. This happened when my kids first started. It was the same thing. They were cutting the buses. If you're going to cut for us, you cut for all out-of-town schools. Fair is fair. Everybody's saying school choice, school choice. Cut it all. If you're going to cut it, cut it. Don't single my kid out.
My name's Alethea Therian. I live at 13 Bernice Avenue. I understand the difficult choice you guys had to make here. I work in education myself, and I do a lot of scheduling, so I understand, like, the budgeting, and I get paid, and I don't get paid what some of the wealthier districts are getting paid, so I get that it was really hard. I'm disappointed that you wouldn't send this forward at what you requested to the town council and sort of fall through on that step. But I understand why you did what you did. I think the thing, Mr. Falcone, that hurt me the most listening to you speak is you don't consider my child your child. You're not concerned about them. When you made this choice, you made it really clear you only care about the kids that are in that building. My kid lives here. They're a part of your community. So I get it. I'm blessed. I will find a way to make it work. I will find a way to keep her there. What I would ask is, as in my email to you that I put earlier in, is that let us be a part of this. I have not, my kids have always gone to magnet schools because of choices that were made 10 years ago by people in charge that are not here now. You couldn't keep my kids safe, right? I never know what's going on in town. We're not a part of the One Book, One Community. We're not a part of the Kindness Keys. I don't know when your meetings are because I don't get them. I don't even get a phone call or a notification when there's a bus delay and it affects us. I get none of that. So here's my thing. You made this choice, so now I'm requesting from you that you find a way to make sure we're included. Because my kid is a part of this town, and you want that return on investment. You want them to stay here and keep this community growing and learning and put the money back in, then you need to start including them. Because right now, she and my son have no reason to stay here in this town when they're adults and they can be taxpayers. So that's my request to you, sir, is find a way to make sure that I know what's going on so I can be a part of it. Because I would have showed up at the meetings and I would have been a voice for all of you, but you didn't include me because I'm not in your building, and that hurts. Thank you.
Jessica Corrigan, 600. I understand all of your guys' decision. I know it must be hard to make, as a lot of you are parents yourself, of kids in school or out of the school district. I just want to say that it hurts the kids, especially. Personally, I'll find a way, make sure I'll be able to drive to school, but not all of these children have these opportunities. And I know this decision is made, but I just wanted to say it hurts, and we do WIMS and does not offer all the things Terryville offers, vice versa. But I'm passionate about it, and I'm still going to choose to go to my school. So,
thank you.
Hi, Hannah Warner. I know the decision has already been made, no changes. I just want to say, bouncing off of something that was already said, we feel like secondhand citizens because we don't come to school in this town. Because we make the decision to have a better education or a different education, we feel like we're not valued the same. My mom works way harder than she should. My dad has cancer, he can't work. If we could come to the meetings, we would. We don't have time. We do what we can to contribute to this town. I, for one, I do so much volunteer work. I'm the first person to stand up when someone says that they need help. And I've lived in this town my whole life. I've gone to magnet schools my whole life. It has significantly helped me. And you are hurting so many kids. So there's nothing you can do. You've made your decision and I understand that. I just want you guys to understand the impact of the decision you did make. Thank you.
Robin Palmer Zagorski, 13 Holt Street, number 28. My husband is on the town council. And with that being said, you guys should bring it to them, at least give them the chance to cut it. Let it be their decision. If they don't know about it, they don't know what to put in and what not to. Now, being that said, he gave us the dates of the next meetings with Board of Finance, the town council. Go there, make your voices heard. If it's cut from the budget, it's cut from the budget. But as the board, you can also say, we can offer other options. Why don't you guys come together with options for these parents to still have busing? Fundraising for that $112,000. Give them the option of, okay, maybe pay quarterly to cover that budget, to cover the difference. You've heard them, you have feelings on it, give them options. If it has to be cut, understandable, but give them options. So at least they feel heard. Right now, you guys are saying, no, it's gotta get cut. Come back with something. Do your job for the people of this town. And Mr. Falcone, it should not just be the students in your schools, it should be all students in the town. You work for the town, not the buildings. Thank you.
Anyone else for public comment?
Melanie Church, 328 Main Street. We live in a distressed community. I think we can all agree on that. Bristol got out. Bristol's no longer a distressed community. We just keep going up higher, becoming more and more distressed. None of our buildings in this whole town is legal. Actually, we can't do anything with it because they've never been kept up. So that's everybody. It's not just the school buildings, it's the town buildings. They're talking about a new police department. Number one, we can't afford it. Number two, the area that they're gonna wanna put it, or they move it out of, we can't use. Because the whole building has to have the asbestos. So there again, the town is lied to. The seniors were told, we're gonna put you there. Not happening. This has been going on and on and on. I will compliment the Board of Ed. I have a book for anyone that's interested on the treasurer's report. I got one from this side. The town side was deplorable. I had to give them a copy of the school one so they could figure out how to do it. So for many years, we don't know. We definitely need some changes. And we need somebody in there to write grants for the schools, for the town. And not the person we have in there, because what grants has he written? If we don't get grant money, we don't apply for it, we don't get it. And then we all sit here like ostriches with our heads in the sand. And that's every single person in this room, including myself. So don't think I'm making an exception. But we've got to have changes. That's why, and just so you all know, I'm almost there at the count for the 1,000 people to go for a town manager who can write grants. Thank you.
Anyone else? Public comment? Okay, seeing none, we will move on to, oh, I'm sorry, online?
Yes. So I have one person that did 2 comments. I'm happy to read both, as if you just want to time it, so you give him the opportunity to
Go right
say
ahead.
whatever 3 minutes can give.
Yep.
Is that
Go
right?
right ahead.
So Jim Hill Jr. of 12 Burr Road. Good evening. I am asking the board to reconsider cutting the magnet school transportation from the budget. There are around 75 students who utilize this transportation on a daily basis to get to and from school. They choose to attend a magnet school for a variety of reasons. To take away their transportation would be detrimental to most, if not all of them. Some of the students could be in their first year of middle school, which is a tough year. I remember 6th grade going to a new school. It was anxiety-inducing, not knowing anybody or how anything worked. They are making new friends, meeting new teachers, trying out different programs magnet schools offer to see what they would like to focus on. They could be juniors who are applying to colleges and have a close relationship with guidance and counselors, teachers, and other staff members. If you take the transportation away and these parents cannot get their children back and forth to school, you would put them back into Terryville schools with all new students, teachers, staff, and would effectively be turning their worlds upside down. Most of the parents in this town have full-time jobs with a multitude of schedule differences who rely heavily on transportation. I would imagine it would be impossible for most of them to get their students back and forth to an out-of-town school. You are basically ripping a student out of its school system they are comfortable in, away from everything and everyone they know, and throwing them into something totally different than what they are used to. That alone could destroy their self-esteem and drive to succeed. The disgusting waste of taxpayer money in the budget could be trimmed enough to include $112,000 to cover this cost. Why are we proposing an evening security guard for THS at the cost of around $30,000 a year? Do we have rampant crime and vandalism at the school in the evening? Why does the district need a new pickup truck at the cost of, if I had to imagine, around $60,000? Why are we using 3 buses that are capable of holding 70-plus students to transport, give or take, 25 students to each magnet school? They have smaller buses that would use less fuel. I do not have all the answers, but I can say for sure there is fat to be trimmed. This frivolous spending has to stop. It is time to put our focus and our funds back onto our students and out of the pockets and contracts of the administration. Some of it's repeated again in the second, but I do think there was a little bit different. Oh, actually, I'm sorry, it was just the same comment twice.
Okay.
And I have one more. Virginia Canane of 18 Adams Drive. There is plenty Mr. Falcone and I disagree about, but I must say I agree with him on this transportation issue. The kids in Terryville need to come first. My kids attend Terryville schools because I cannot transport them to private schools. A choice I made as a parent and a choice I made in living in this town. I wish I could be there to say more tonight, but thank you, Mr. Falcone, for standing up for our Plymouth Public School students. That's all the comments I have.
Thank you. All right, committee reports. Policy Subcommittee.
Oh,
That's you.
So we met prior to this meeting to come up with an AI policy. It's pretty simplistic to protect on the just to make sure we have some safeguards into place and to make sure we have ethical use. So we're putting it out. We're putting it out to you guys for the first read, and then we will come back, I think next month, to put it into effect. So if anybody has any questions for us.
Take a look at the policy for next time. Yeah. Okay. Any questions from anybody before we? You have a copy of it, yes. Yep. All right, item number 11, board liaison reports. Harry S. Fisher Elementary School.
Okay, give me a second because I left my notebook at home.
Okay, no problem.
I'll do the first one, Kelly. Okay.
You got all the dates.
At Fisher, they're having the Wolfpack hockey games Saturday, January 1st. No, March 1st. And the 4th and 5th grade chorus will perform at halftime. Tickets are $22. It's also with that Saber Night or whatever they call that stuff. That'll be
Star
good.
Wars.
Pardon me?
Star Wars.
Star Wars. Yeah, my kids are too old for that. Okay. You can have the rest.
Okay. I got a lot more. All right, the 5th grade paint night is a Northern Lights theme that will be on March 26th. The IGA Roundup will be from May 11th to May 17th. The book fair is the week of March 17th, which is also the week of conferences. Boosterthon is going on now. The Glow Fun Run is tomorrow. There is still time to donate if you would like to go donate to that. School start February 28th, and the Wolfpack sign up March 1st, and yearbooks are available for purchase now.
Thank you. Plymouth Center School.
The spring book fair is going on this whole week. It'll go on till Friday. And February 28th is bingo night, and they would like an RSVP if you plan to attend, because they get an awful lot of people that come. We had to turn some away to the second, 2 previous ones. It can be done online with Linktree, and they also sell pizza. And if you want to make sure you get some because it goes fast, you can pre-order on Linktree also. So that's for Plymouth Center.
Okay, great, thanks. Middle school?
The next PTA meeting is February 26th, 7 PM. They have it at the library, or you can get a link to participate online. The student versus staff game is going to be a lot of fun. And both the boys and the girls had their last basketball game today.
Thank you. High school.
The PTSA meeting back on January 15th. They had a designer bag bingo, which will be coming up on March 15th. The Lyman Orchard Pie fundraiser was successful. I can vouch for that. I just thawed one out the other day. It's very good. IGA Roundup will be in January, which was, sorry, we're a little bit late here. The grad signs will be ready in April, and the Mother's Day flowers will be in May.
Okay, fantastic. At Advance.
At Advance canceled their meeting for the month of February, but I would like to inform people who maybe don't get all of the information I said last month. On Wednesday, May 7th is on the something on the Hill where Board of Ed members in Congress are supposed to be talking about educational reform. So if anybody is able to attend that, it is from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Wednesday, May 7th at the Capitol. I'm going to ask if I can use PD day to go. I doubt I'll get approved for it. It's during the day, but I don't know if anybody else is interested. You can see me for more information on that.
Okay, great. All right, item number 12, board comments. We'll start over here with Mr. Showers.
I'm all set.
Ms. Tilton, anything else?
I don't know if anybody wants to hear the sound of my voice anymore this evening, but I just want to thank everybody for showing up. I think it's important for everyone to use their voice, and hopefully, I mean, I don't have solutions or answers, but hopefully we can find ways to come together and work together to solve problems. And
Mr. Foote?
I'm good.
Okay. Mr. Zabushka?
It'd be nice to see some of the town people go to the Board of Finance meetings and the other meeting, and maybe we can get a different answer. I'm not sure, but who knows? That's about it.
Mr. Perugino?
I'm just glad to see everybody who's here tonight had expressed their opinions. I do have one question, and Madam Chairman, you probably remember, because you and I are probably the only two that were on the board, when we used to get the newsletter every month from Whams, Maloney, and Rotella. I've been on the board 3 years. I haven't seen anything. So I don't know what our students are doing down there.
Yeah.
So maybe as you parents, when you get down there to the PTO meetings, ask them why they're not sending us any information. That would really help, because I used to always enjoy reading it, but we don't get anything now.
We don't know which way that's, you know, where the breakdown in communication might be, so we can.
I know, but
Yeah,
yeah.
we're not sure where that.
No, we're not sure.
Yeah.
That's it, thank you.
That's it. Cindy?
A long time ago, when they were trying to get the SRO back in town, I went to some of those meetings. And at the town council meeting, when they were getting ready to set the budget, they did give the police department extra money to put the SRO in. The police did make it very clear that even though they did receive this extra money, that the town cannot tell them how to spend it. With that being said, you could continue to go to the Board of Finance and town council meetings and voice your concerns there, and they are able to give more money to any position in the town if they choose to. So this isn't your last stop being here. And, you know, like Robin said, you know, make your, you know, go let other people know. Everyone is open to go to these meetings. So there's 2 more meetings left that you could all participate in. And if they find the funds, or if they feel that they can make it work, they could give us more money as well than what we proposed to them.
Michelle, do you have anything to add for comment?
I just want to thank the parents and the students for their comments during public comment. Thank you.
Absolutely. Yes, I would like to also say thank you very much to everybody. Whether we agree or disagree, we want to hear from you, for sure. We definitely want to hear from you. And as Cindy said, this is not the last stop. The Board of Finance and the Town Council have the opportunity to add more money into our budget if they so choose. Again, just like the police department, that does not guarantee that we use the money for that. We are in control of the money. They can give us what they would like, but we are then in control of the money. They can't mandate we use it for something in particular. But again, if they wanted to add it in, Mrs. Zagorski is here. She said to bring it to the town council, let them have that opportunity. And I agree. I think that's great. I think you should go to the Board of Finance meetings, the town council meetings. I think you should voice what you would like and how much money you would like for education. And I think that that would be fabulous if we could get even more people to come together and do that. And that being said, our next board meeting, the next regular meeting of the Plymouth Board of Education is on Wednesday, March 12th, 2025 at 7 p.m. in the cafeteria at Terryville High School. And I would like to entertain a motion to adjourn at 8:41 p.m.
So moved.
Mr. Showers and second, Mrs. Lucian. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you very much, everyone.